Most people who want to build something on the side of their full-time job in the form of a business don't fail because they run out of time. They actually fail because they try to do too many things with the time that they do have. And the frustrating part is that it often doesn't feel like failure when it's happening, because it does feel like effort and it feels like progress. Because you're moving, because you're thinking, because you're working on things. But often weeks go by and nothing has actually moved forward. And most people can't work out why. And to understand why, you need to hear what it actually looks like from the outside, because I've lived it. You see, when my job disappeared in February 2025, when the company I worked for in a permanent role was shut down overnight with no warning, my immediate response was to do absolutely everything at once. I had a contract role that was working, income that was coming in, and that part was totally fine. But every hour outside of that, I was throwing at multiple directions at the same time. I'm talking about film production, I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about online marketing, even cryptocurrency. Constant movement, something on the go all the time, and honestly, none of these were actually working. And it wasn't because the ideas were all wrong, but it was simply because my energy was spread so thin across all of them that effectively nothing got done. And nothing got enough attention to actually move anything forward in a meaningful way. I was completely busy every single day. I was working so many hours, it was ridiculous. But I wasn't actually really building anything. And being busy was how I was effectively just managing the panic. And that's all it was in hindsight. Now that might sound completely and utterly obvious from the outside, but here is why it's easy to stay inside that pattern without realizing it. And it's something that you might end up doing as well. You see, when you're doing multiple things at once, nothing ever gets far enough for you to get real feedback, because nothing might succeed, but also nothing might fail either. And therefore everything just stays at the same level of low progress. And that almost progress is just enough to keep you going. And you keep telling yourself that if you just put a little bit more time into it, one of them will start to move and you'll start to see the gains that you want. But they often don't, because the problem isn't the amount of time, it's actually being spread too thin. Now, the longer you stay in that pattern, the more it will physically drain you and everything will feel like hard work, because you always feel like you're starting from scratch on something, you're always behind and you're always playing catch up. And if you're already running on empty, the decisions you make about what to do next could get worse. And that usually means adding something else to the list, doing something else. And you see the problem? You keep adding stuff to the plate thinking more is better, when actually you need to focus your efforts differently. So if that is the trap, what can actually get you out of it? Well, it obviously, from what I've just said, isn't doing more. It's doing less, but doing the less stuff properly. One clear focus beats 10 half-started things every single time, because the goal isn't to squeeze more into the time you have, it's to cut everything that is pulling your attention away from the one thing that's worth doing. The things you're doing because they feel safer than committing to something real, you need to cut those out. And if you have a job, then it needs to stay, keep it. That's actually the thing that's going to help you make clear decisions rather than desperate ones. What you cut out is everything else. The question is, how do you work out which ones keep? Because if you've got a list of things on the go, that decision doesn't always feel obvious. And if you get it wrong, well, you could end up in an even bigger panic. Now, how to find the right focus and have the confidence to commit to it is something that I regularly come back to in my honest brief, which is a short weekly email where I work through these kind of things in more detail. I've put a link in the description below if you want to sign up. But the starting point is simpler than most people think. You see, you don't need a framework or a scoring system. You just need to be honest with yourself about one thing. To start with, write down everything that you're currently working on or thinking about starting. Get it all out. Every single project, every idea, everything that you've been meaning to get to. Don't filter it at this stage, just write everything down somewhere. And then take a look at that list in detail and ask yourself one honest question. Which of these has the most alignment with what you already know how to do? I'm not talking about the most exciting one. I'm not talking about the one with the biggest enterprise potential. I'm talking about the one that's likely to have the most traction, the most clarity, and the most connection to the skills that you've already got. And that is the one that you want to keep. And I'd seriously consider crossing the rest off the list. Maybe not forever, but just for the time being. Because those ideas will still be there, but right now, they're the reason that nothing is really moving. What's left on that piece of paper is going to be your focus, and that's where you need to spend your time. Now, once you've done that, the next thing most people do is they assume that they need to go and learn something new to actually build it. And this could be a new skill, a new qualification, something that they don't have yet. And that assumption is what keeps people stuck on the starting line for months. So watch this video next before you do anything else, because what you already have is probably further along than you think.